Good morning. In this video, I am discussing the definition of the preprocessor and preprocessor statements. What is exactly preprocessor? The C preprocessor is not a part of the compiler, but is a separate step in the compilation process. That means the preprocessor is just a test substitution tool and they instruct the compiler to do required pre-processing before actual compilation. We'll refer to the C processor as the CPP. All pre-processor commands begin with a pound symbol, that is the hash. It must be first non-blank character, and for readability, a preprocessor directive should begin in first column. It is invoked automatically by the compiler. In first pass, invokes C preprocessor. Second pass invokes compiler on resulting code. Here, what is exactly passes? That the first pass and the second pass. Generally, in the case of the compiler, will contain the two passes will be there. One pass and also two pass compiler. Okay, one pass and also second pass. Okay. Now, after this one, if you want to, manually invoke the C preprocessor, GCC hyphen EFOO.c. What is exactly GCC? That is the GCC compiler, FOO.c, that is the file name. That is the file name. Okay. Now, when you observe this one, this section contains the three kinds of the preprocessor directives. That is the first one is the file inclusion. File inclusion. That means hash include. Insert a, in the case of the hash include, insert a particular header from another file. For example, hash include stdio.h and hash include myheader.h. When you observe this one, first one, hash include stdio.h, and next one is the hash include double code myheader.h. These directives tell the CPP to get the stdio.h from system libraries and add the text to the current source file. The next line, that the hash include myheader.h. That means this particular line tells the CPP to get myheader.h from the local directory and add the content to the current source file. Next one, that the conditional compilation, that are hash if def, hash if and def, hash elif, hash else, hash and if. First, I will discuss the hash if. The hash if directive tests an expression. This expression can be any form used in a program with virtually any operator, except that it can include only integer constant values, no variables, or functions calls are permitted, nor a floating point, character or string points. Okay. The hash if directory is true, if the expression evaluates to true. Any undefined preprocess symbol used in the hash if expression is treated as all preprocessor, and an attempt to do so might result in an error. See this example. Hash include stdio.h. Hash define Windows 1 is there. Int main hash if Windows. Printf, there the double quote Windows, end if hash end if return 0. That means here, see here when you observe this, hash define Windows 1 is there. Exactly where exactly Windows will be there, the 1 will be substituted. That means if 1, that is the true. That is the true. It will print the print of Windows. That means here this is the if is the conditional statement. If is the conditional statement. Print of Windows. That means that the output is the here the output of the executable program is the that is the Windows. Suppose for example hash define Windows 0, it will not print the Windows. Understood? Now next one is the if def. If def. Okay, once again, sorry. Now here the hash if is how to close that one, hash and def. I will explain this one, hash and def. Okay. Now hash if def returns to if this macro is defined. If this macro is defined. Hash if def debug. Hash if def debug. Your debugging statement enter here. Hash and def. This tells the CPP, that is the CPP means C compiler, to the process the statement enclosed if debug is defined. This is useful if you pass the debug flag to GCC compiler at the time of the compilation. This will define debug so you can turn debugging on and off on the fly during compilation. Next one, if and def returns true if this macro is not defined. See the example. If and def message hash define message you wish end if. Okay, understood? This tells the CPP define message only if message is not already defined. This tells the CPP to define message only if the message is not already defined. Understood? Next one. Some other statements, that is the some other. Okay, hash else, hash elif, hash end if. Hash else, hash elif, and also hash end if. The hash elif is that is the hash else and hash if. If you want to combine that one, you can use the hash elif. Hash end if is the preprocessor conditional state. Sure. Now next one, macros. That is the already I discussed that one, that is the hash define and def and also hash error and also pragma. Hash define. Substitute the preprocessor macro. Substitute the preprocessor macro. For example, hash define max array length 20. Hash define max array length 20. This directive tells the CPP to replace the instance of the max array length with the 20. Understood? Now, next one is the hash undef. Undefines the a preprocessor macro. Hash undef file size hash define file size 42. This tells the CPP undefine existing file size and define it as 42. Okay. Now next one is the hash error. It prints the error message on the std error. I think we discussed this. There the std in and also std error, std out. Okay. Next one is the pragma. Hash pragma issues special commands to the compiler using a standardized method. The preprocessor examples. Now the answer C defines the number of macros. What exactly here the answer C is there? They are the different types of flavors will be there in the case of the C language. There the ANSI C, Turbo C, Boolean C, like this one different flavors will be there. Now here in the ANSI C defines the number of macros. Although each one is available for use in programming, the predefined macros should not be directly modified. Suppose, for example, the macro underscore date underscore. It will give the current date as the character literal in mm and dd YYY format. Next one is the hash hyphen time hyphen. The current time as the character literal. That is the format is the hours, HH and also minutes and also seconds format. Next one is file. This contains the current file as a string literal. Hash line. This contains the current line number as a decimal constant. Hyphen SDDC defined as 1 when the compiler compiles with ANSI standard. Suppose for example, see this example. Hash include stdio.h, main, printf, file, hyphen file, and also hyphen date, and also hyphen time, and also hyphen line, and also hyphen SDDC. Not 126, this is wrong, okay. When the above code is executed in a file, suppose for example the file name is test.c, is compiled and executed, it produces the following result. That is the, now suppose here when you execute this, what is the file name? Test.c. Now the which date? That is the date is the, he compiled, that is the today's date, that is the, suppose for example here June 2nd, 2012. And also time, which time is compiled, that is the 03, 36 and also 24. Which line, that is the 8. There is the which version, that is the either ANSI